Good morning. Good morning, and welcome back to another episode of NexusCraft. Here with me, Blue Nexus Gaming. Don't leave trees floating. Compasses always point to a lodestone or world spawn. Good to know. I didn't really get to read the rest of the tooltip because it was going by so quickly, but it's still good to know. That's how I actually located world spawn. I just built a compass, followed the compass to the corner where the 4 blocks were meeting. I actually now know the requirements for figuring out specifically which block of world spawn is actually world spawn. Specifically, the one that is world spawn is this one, I believe? Or was it this one? Let's see. Yeah, it's this one. This is the actual world spawn location. Not this one, not this one, not this one. It is actually this one block right here. That is world spawn. I'll actually go ahead and clear out the area around it. I can light it up on all sides, except for the bottom, because it's pretty impossible to use torches to light up the bottom of a block. I mean, it's doable, but it's not easy and it doesn't look good. Wow, you just kind of instantly reacted for once. Okay. Well, still totally wrecking your drowned face there. Now to use my infinity bow here to take out this drowned. There we go. I believe your items are over here. Okay, now I looked up the requirements for a villager breeder for an iron golem. This location is not qualified. Neither is this one. Both of these locations need to be moved entirely. That's kind of a problem because I just spent all of this time building all of these up. Which means I now need to spend all of this time, well, moving them. Now, I will leave the basic floor plans revealed. I don't want to need to struggle with figuring out how I was going to build it. But I do want to make sure that in the process I collect all of the different materials, because I'm going to need the majority of them to, well, build up the villager breeder. I still need to do that. I still need to build the trading hall. I still need to build the villager breeder. I still need to do all of that. This is just me going through, taking care of the various planning stages of building a villager breeder and a villager trading hall as well. These two things cannot be side by side, by the way. The villager trading hall will get in the way of the villager breeder. The villager breeder will get in the way of the villager trading hall. These two things cannot be this close to each other. They need to be moved farther apart from each other. They need to be placed in a location that is 80 blocks away from each other in order for this to be functional, in order for this to operate properly. Okay. Yeah, today's a bit of a busy day for me because on top of recording roughly 4 hours of video today, I additionally need to make sure that I am prepared for the D&D game that I will supposedly be joining later today, assuming the GM does not decide that the campaign is still on hiatus. I have my character sheet prepared. I haven't submitted it, but it's the same character sheet I had the last time I was in this campaign. Just reset to level 3 because he reset his campaign. I will be playing a Grave Domain Cleric in this one. Specifically, this character will be the son of Dragonus. The character itself is based on the character Johnny Bravo from the Cartoon Network children's series. Therefore, it should prove very interesting, to say the least. Let's see. I'm going to need to remove this entire floor. Both of these floors, actually. This whole thing is going to become one floor. I will repurpose this later, probably. But for now, I just need to remove the walls from this thing. I need to remove the roof from this thing. I need to remove the ceiling from this thing. And then once I've done that, I will be more than capable of making use of this space once again, in addition to being able to use all of the materials which were used in the construction of this build. There is a lot of materials involved in building these and gathering all of the different villagers, and I understand that this is supposed to be like a day one type of build, but I kind of started in a really bad location as far as spawns go. It's great long term because it gives me great amounts of room to expand. I don't need to worry about am I going to need to worry about resources? Am I going to need to worry about monsters? I don't need to worry about all of that because, well, I have all of this material around. Therefore, I can very easily just craft anything I need. But at the same time, I have to deal with the fact that there's nothing around for some of the more long-term goals, such as building a village or trading hall. I need to go out and get the villagers. Well, in order to get the villagers, I have to travel like 1,000 blocks. And that's not even just all of the villagers. That's just like the closest village. And it's like, well, that's kind of annoying, but it's workable. I can work with that. That's fine. The main thing that I need to remember is to, every now and then, I need to remember to go repair my pickaxe. I additionally found out what I was missing on my basalt generator while I was looking everything up, because in Silent Whisper's advent calendar for 2020, he was creating redstone contraptions and publishing them to his YouTube channel in order to just have something nice and festive for the holidays on his channel. This allows me to make use of things such as knowing how to set up the villager trading hall, knowing how to set up the villager breeder, knowing how to set up the iron golem farm. This is all very easy tech. It's just a matter of getting the villagers and getting all of the various aspects of the farm organized in a way that makes it useful. Specifically useful to me, because since this is survival single player, I don't want it to be useful to others, since others are not the focus of the farm. The focus of the farm is me. I need it to be useful for me, my needs. Having the farm useful for others is an added benefit, but the majority of that benefit is caused by the fact that, I'm going to want access to the iron, I'm going to want access to poppies, I'm going to want access to the string, I'm going to want access to the villager trades. Therefore, useful for me and useful for everyone else is somewhat synonymous with each other. The two things kind of go hand in hand just by virtue of, I need access and they need access. We both need access. Therefore, it's useful for them because it's useful for me. It's useful for me because it's useful for them. Their access points are my access points. It's kind of a difficult thing to explain, but the basics of it is that I need to build all of this material elsewhere. Also, I don't need it this large. This is actually enough for like 2 villager breeders, which is probably more than I will ever need. Yeah, I'm going to definitely need to make a few trips to the storage room of the base, because I'm going to need to deposit a very large quantity of smooth stone. Now, fortunately, with the introduction of lightning rods, it has become much easier to prevent the villagers from getting struck by lightning and then, by that effect, turned into a witch. Now there are not as many chances for a villager to turn into a witch because we can use a lightning rod. We can just have the lightning strike the lightning rod, and then the villagers are safe and sound, protected from any sort of damaging, deadly lightning. Oh, those were actual marker blocks. My bad. Oops. No idea what that one was marking, but okay. Hi, drowned. Bye, drowned. Ow. 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 Thank you for your cooperation, I guess. Their cooperation is primarily just them dying, but thanks, I guess. Okay. Here we have a baby drowned. No items from the looks of it. That's fine. Now I leap up here. Okay. If I had to guess what was causing the massive amounts of lag that I am experiencing, I would have to assume it was likely this pond that is the culprit. I would be probably correct. I don't know if you can experience this lag on your end, on YouTube, but I am definitely noticing a bit of lag occurring on my game here. Therefore, I am making sure to harvest all of this kelp, because kelp, being an animated block, does actually generate quite the absurd amount of lag in large quantities. If you're running a server and someone has a kelp farm, or they decorated with a lot of kelp, chances are, if you break their kelp, you'll probably clear up a lot of the lag on your server, because kelp itself is just not very optimized as far as the lag reduction goes. Kelp is not very optimized. It's very processing intensive to have kelp on your Minecraft world, much less on a server. You would think servers would handle it better. Nope, not really. It's about the same. plenty of kelp. Nowhere near enough inventory space for it. Yeah, as you can see, there is a little bit less lag now that I have broken all of the kelp in the pond. This has caused the sim speed to perk back up because it is no longer processing all of the things required to process all of this kelp. Now I am putting those kelp over there temporarily because I just want to pick up all of the different item entities to really optimize this as much as possible. That is a few stacks of kelp, yes, but in the process I picked up what was essentially 3 stacks worth of kelp that was just otherwise going to be floating here as about 15 different stacks of items. Which is why I picked it all up. There is a zombie in my moat. I am aware of this. There's not much that can be done about this, unfortunately. The zombie came from the nearby mountain. It is going to convert into a drowned if it manages to remain in the pond, which it seems to have despawned. Therefore, I don't need to worry about it anymore. But otherwise, it was going to turn into a drowned, and then I was going to take it out using the bow. Now I just go across, making use of this lovely Respiration 3 on my helmet. Cleaning up any of the kelp which grew in the meantime, which was a sizable amount. I do need to set up a flying machine of some form to auto-harvest the kelp, or at least semi-auto-harvest the kelp, just, a sweeper arm to go through and plop out all the kelp so I don't have to go down there each time. That will help when I additionally do not have any form of respiration, because it will allow me to harvest all of the kelp without needing to actually go in the water. Instead, I will be able to just sit atop the water, gather all the items that float to the surface, and that'll really be all it takes. Now, I am aware that I am currently backlogging the, one side more than the other. I am aware of this. I'm doing that on purpose. The reason why I'm doing that on purpose is specifically because I want to have a a build where I can just kind of, set it up and not need to worry about it, which is kind of what I've done there. I've set it up so that I don't really need to worry about, does it have material, because I know that pretty much no matter what I do, it's eventually going to get enough material to start cooking more materials in the furnace. It will eventually get more kelp, it'll eventually get more fish, it'll eventually get more, steak. Whatever I put in there, it will eventually get it. It's just a matter of when. I'm not expecting anything to be high priority. If I was, I would be putting it directly into the furnace. Instead, I am making use of the more passive features of the kelp farm in order to cook all of the kelp from the lake in the fully automatic kelp farm, which is not keeping up, I should point out. The fully automatic kelp farm does not keep up with the amount of cooking needed in order for all of the kelp to get processed. Now, I just need to plant all of the wheat back in. Now, for the D&D session that I am joining today, which is to say Thursday, I have no idea what kind of plot the GM has. As I mentioned, my character is a descendant of one of my other characters. Specifically, they are the son of the character Dragonus. Their name is Doc Yo. They are a shifter, unearthed arcana, which is apparently no longer used ever since the Eberron books started getting released by Wizards of the Coast, which is the owners of Magic the Gathering, and the Eberron setting is specifically the Magic the Gathering setting, according to Wizards of the Coast. Now, a lot of the artwork for the gods of D&D has been released by Wizards of the Coast as the Eberron setting gods. The Eberron Pantheon, which is, the Wizards of the Coast gods, the Magic the Gathering gods. I'm not very familiar with these gods, therefore I don't use them in my Friday campaign, but the GM might use them in this one. I don't know. I am not the GM in this one, therefore it's kind of difficult for me to know ahead of time what to expect. I'm not exactly going to ask the GM what they're planning, because I kind of like the surprise of knowing that the GM is planning something, but not knowing specifically what the GM is planning. That's just kind of my play style, but that's not going to be the same for everyone. I'm sure plenty of people are going to be sitting there wondering, well, what's he planning? What's he going to be doing? What's he, what kind of events is he going to be running, and what kind of world is he going to be running, what kind of pantheons does he have. I don't know these things. I believe his pantheon is the standard 5th edition pantheon, which is to say the Egyptian, Celtic, Greek, and Norse gods, which includes Thor, Loki, Zeus, Hades, all of the usual crew, basically, as well as the Norse ones, which I'm nowhere near as familiar with. I do not do Norse gods. Or no, wait, no, Norse gods are Thor, Loki, and all them. It's Celtic gods I don't know. Norse I'm very familiar with because everyone's familiar with Norse gods. It's freaking Zeus and Hades and, Athena and all those other ones. Technically, Wonder Woman is in the Norse pantheon, as Wonder Woman is the daughter of Athena, in case you ever wondered. Now, some of you may have noticed that there is a bit of a black border on one side of my videos. That is specifically because I am recording from my phone, and the process kind of forces me to make use of certain features of my device, which can reduce the vision just a little bit. It's not reducing it much. I believe it's on this side that the reduction is happening, which is really not much. It's losing a few pixels. But, the vision extends from here to here. I will be inspecting that after I upload it, just to make sure that I can see both sides. I have been curious if I am capable of seeing the entirety of my screen in these uploads, because I want to make sure that I am getting I want to make sure that I'm getting my gameplay properly recorded. I really wish that my screen would stop twitching like that, but whatever. I might need to reduce the sensitivity down to like 50. Currently it's at 75. It was at 100 previously, but I had this issue before where the screen was just twitching uncontrollably and making it so I had to adjust my aim ever so constantly while I tried to build and excavate and navigate and all kinds of other things. Now, about the upcoming D&D game that I will be attending, I will play a Grave Domain Cleric. As I mentioned, they will be a shifter, and the character's personality will be roughly based on the character Johnny Bravo. If you're not familiar with who Johnny Bravo is, I'm not sure if I should be happy or sad, because Johnny Bravo is A, hilarious, and B, quite the old cartoon. if you are familiar with Johnny Bravo, good for you. If you're not familiar with Johnny Bravo, also good for you. Johnny Bravo was a weird, very weird character. He was a womanizer who had no idea what he was doing. He was always flirting with girls and just consistently getting rejected. Therefore, should be good fun. He was always like, "Hey, beautiful, did someone steal the moon and shove them in your eyes?" It's like, what? It's like, that sounded better in my head. Yeah. Anyways. And someone threatens him with a mace, he's like, "Oh, you don't need to get the pepper spray," and then they just pull out an actual mace. He's like, "Oh, you mean that kind of mace?" And then they hit him in the face. It's like, yep, that's Johnny Bravo for you. Clueless to the max. But that's fine. It's Johnny Bravo, so there's not too much that can go wrong. The GM did start me at level 3 for this upcoming campaign, which means I get to start with a magic item, because the GM told me so. And I'm going to make use of a Periapt of Wound Closure. Now, I don't know how many of you are familiar with the methods of min-maxing, but giving a Grave Domain Cleric a Periapt of Wound Closure is about as close as you can get to min-maxing without needing to roll any dice. Emphasis on not needing to roll any dice, because the Periapt of Wound Closure's effect, for those of you who don't know, is that if you start your turn while at 0 HP, which means unconscious, then you will immediately stabilize if you are dying. The reason why that's an amazing feature for a Grave Domain Cleric to have is Grave Domain Clerics are what is essentially the heal bot of the party. They are the one that you want if you're fighting a really tough battle and the party keeps going down a lot because for some reason the party might have decided to fight a bunch of dragons or something, maybe a skeleton minotaur, whatever you really want to throw at them. If you really want a safety net, give your party a Grave Domain Cleric, and if they're lucky, they might even, get some Cure Wounds. Or more specifically, if they're extremely unlucky, they might get Cure Wounds. Because Grave Domain Clerics have this lovely feature where if a person is at 0 HP and then the Grave Domain Cleric heals them, the person will heal full damage from the Cure Wounds at whatever level spellcasting you cast it at. Therefore, if you cast, first level Cure Wounds, and let's say Cure Wounds heals 1d8, I believe it is, plus your spellcasting modifier, which in my character's case is a +4, then that would be 1d8 plus 4. However, if they were at 0 HP and dying at the time, then instead of it being 1d8 plus 4, it's just 8 plus 4. There's no randomness. There's no rolling. It's just you're healed for 12 HP because I cast level 1 Cure Wounds. And considering that's enough health to heal up an entire barbarian's hit dice, that's a lot of damage to be healed all at once. And then to take into account that actually scales, because there is, there is the fact that clerics are not only full casters, but ritual casters. Meaning, I can ritual cast a spell if it has the ritual tag. I can't do that for all of my spells, sadly, but I can do that for things such as Purify Food and Drink. Detect Magic is additionally a ritual cast spell. I don't really know what the process is for Detect Magic. I believe it was something about X-rays. The Detect spells seem to be primarily focused around the same vision enhancements that Superman has. Which would be X-ray, infrared, gamma, that type of visual aid. If you ever were actually interested in the science behind the spell, it seems to be based off of the infrared and X-ray capabilities of the light spectrum. Basically, if you want an artificer that does detect magic, you can just have him pull out a portable X-ray machine, and he'll just take X-rays of things and be like, "Oh yes, I see now. This is actually a mimic. See, you can tell here because here's its heart." And it's like, dude, that's just the rogue. You were X-raying a pile of gold, and the rogue got in there, and he's currently stuck inside the treasure chest. And then the rogue walks up and goes, "Someone talking about me? I was busy robbing the nearest noble." And everyone just looks at the rogue, and then looks at the storage chest, and then looks at the rogue and says, "Stab that storage chest, please." Because that's a mimic. It's like, how do you know it's a mimic? Well, we thought you were in there. Ah, yes, I can see now how that might be a concern. And it's like, yes, we thought you were just in there stealing all of the money. Turns out, nope, that's just a mimic. It's like, oh, okay. And then they kill the mimic. Mimics are actually decently easy as far as combat goes. There is very little potential that the party could get completely wiped out by a single mimic. However, if the mimic is clever, the mimic could potentially do a lot of damage. However, I don't think the mimic is on par with a group of level 3 adventurers, each carrying at least one magic item, which is what I will be joining the party with. I will have one magic item. They will each also have one magic item. We will all have one magic item together. I need to hurry up and run over to the bed. There we go. Now I need to eat. Drop these on the ground, pick them back up, make sure my inventory is all topped off as far as resources go. Okay. Now that I know what I need to do in order to build all of this stuff, I need to find somewhere that I can build it that I'm going to be spending a lot of time. The villagers will produce roughly 3 villagers per minute with the build that I'm going to be going for. I do not need excessive quantities of smooth stone to build it either. It does not take up an entire chunk. It takes up 7 by 7. Or no, 4 by 7 by 7 was the dimensions that were listed. According to Silent Whisper in his video. How is the level of stone in there? Low. I will need to replenish that. Okay. Good to know. I will additionally need to replenish, or not replenish, I will need to use a large quantity of the soil, which not soil, that I'm all kinds of distracted at the moment. I will need to use a large quantity of the stone, specifically the smooth stone, that I am, getting ready to make use of here. I will need to find some use for all of this smooth stone, because there is a lot of smooth stone needing using, and I don't really have much else to do with it. I just kind of need to use it up. I need to build with it. Okay, well, I guess this was going in there as well. I do need to additionally deposit things such as the copper. I will need to check on the levels of fuel in the furnace. The furnace is doing all right. I could probably do with bringing a better map down here. Let me see. Yeah. As for the location of the villager breeder, I believe I know the perfect location. And that location is actually over in this direction, because what I can do is I can build the villager breeder right about here, and then I can keep going and build the iron farm right about over here. Right, I forgot I don't want to ride this yet. But yeah, I can build the iron golem farm over here, and that will allow me to very easily access pretty much anything I need from the iron golem farm. Let's see. I'm looking for a way to make it so that I can just add this over to here, and I think the only way to do that is to just place it in like right here, and then I can just have the minecart travel over this way from the cactus. Yeah, like it'll start here and then just immediately zigzag over to here because it needs to turn and it needs to go up, and it's just all this nonsense. Technically speaking, I actually want to move this redstone block in one because I want to have it where I did not want to mine both of those. I need to have it where I actually have the redstone block there, and then from here I can apply the turn. Yeah, that's better. As for this, I just kind of want to break that right there. I did not want to break the flooring, but I kind of don't want this all connected just yet. I will put this here for now, just so I don't forget it. But, yeah. The reason why I had to move the redstone block is because you can't have a turn that is going up. Like, you can't start down here and end up here with just this one block in the way. Like, you can't go from here up here, like here. You know what I mean? This, here, I can show you, actually. This doesn't work. Like, it just doesn't work. This works. That's the difference. Like, one of those doesn't work, one of those does. That simple. As far as this mining tunnel goes, I could make use of like all of this lighting, and I could make use of all of, you know, the tunnel, and I could go down and dig all of this out using my diamond silk touch pickaxe. I could decorate it, I could make it look all nice, but for the most part that tunnel is actually kind of useless at the moment. If I want resources, I have them all right here. There is some lava if I continue pushing forward, but for the most part there is plenty of iron, there's plenty of coal, there's plenty of other resources which I can make use of. You know, if I wanted to, I could dig out a tunnel bore type of area over here, which is entirely doable. You know. But the problem is that I just kind of need to have some form of, some form of progress. I need something to make it so that I am actually, advancing on my build, advancing on my base. I just realized all of these torches are actually lined up with the pattern. They're just off by one and on the wrong side. Like, I could easily just mine all of this out I could easily retrieve all of the ores from in here. You know, granted it's at the wrong height if I'm looking for diamonds, but, you know, it's very easy for me to excavate it all. It's very easily, you know, mined out because I now have a much better pickaxe than I did the first time I was here, for starters. You know, when I first came through here, I had a stone pickaxe, no enchantments. Now I've got a diamond pickaxe with silk touch. I would say I am doing just a little bit better than I was before. I'm finding all of this gravel, which isn't actually all that exciting. I'm finding a lot of ores in the walls. I already found coal, I found iron, you know. I am locating more ore. And that's fine, you know. Locating vast quantities of ore is kind of a part of Minecraft. This is quite the sizable location,